Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Ooh,
Ooh,
there's an echo on my YouTube channel.
there's an echo on my YouTube channel. There's an echo on my YouTube channel. There's an echo on my YouTube channel.
Okay, I'll turn it off. How you guys doing this evening? Hi, Chastity. Last night was a bit weird, I'll admit. I do that occasionally. But I just wanted to do something a bit more serious this evening. Some of you guys might have genuine questions that you want to ask. Some of you may not. Maybe just talk about drumming or something else unrelated to drumming. I think it's always really cool to speak to new people, and especially to people that have been watching my videos for so many years. I mean, that's crazy to me. So if you've got any questions or anything you'd like to ask or just talk about them, please go ahead. And I promise to be as honest as possible. If you've got nothing to ask, then I'll just ramble on for a bit and we'll call it a night, no problem. I had my COVID vaccine today, my first injection from the NHS, which is quite incredible, really, when you think about it. It's been just over a year since the outbreak, and all the great minds and scientists and doctors and various professionals working over all round the clock to get it done. Finally got my injection, my first injection, so very pleased with that, and very impressed with when we want to come together as a people, we really can, can't we? Get things done. So I hope you're having a good evening, Saturday night. I've got a glass of wine. Cheers. Again, if there are no questions, then this will be very short and I won't waste your time. I also smoke occasionally, so forgive me. I'm really not proud. I'm one of those people that, anyway, do I play other instruments? I tried playing guitar for a bit, and my dad was a guitarist, very good guitarist, and I presume that's where I got my musical gene from. But wow, guitar is difficult, way too fiddly. I tried to learn some of the chords and make them become natural, but it never became easy for me. I didn't give it enough time, but wow, guitar is difficult. I also played trumpet. That was my first instrument when I was in junior school, which is around the age of 5 to 10, and yeah, that was I was pretty good at trumpet. Hey Guido, nice to see you, mate. But yeah, trumpet was my first instrument, and I enjoyed it. I was pretty good at it, but it was never going to go anywhere. Drums was always beckoning in the background. I was always sort of tapping on my legs in the car, and one of my things that I did as a kid, which my dad found very amusing, was to I can't remember the context, but to say stuff like, to do like the jazz hi-hat thing. I don't know where that came from, but I remember me and my sister used to laugh a lot at doing that, and my dad laughing at us doing it. Yeah, so drums are always there, right from the beginning, before I even realised what the actually meant. So yeah, trumpet. The trumpet! I've still got it upstairs in my loft. I should bring it down at some point and have a blow on it, but I'm worried about my neighbours. Even as a kid, when I was practicing, I was worried that my neighbours would be listening and going, oh, shut up. So, luckily I've got electric drum kits now that my neighbours don't get bothered by. Excuse me. I am sorry. I'm having a few to drink, so forgive me. Any other questions from anybody? Comments? It doesn't have to be a question. Do I play video games, Roberto? Yeah, I love video games. Always have. Mario starts off. Well, actually, it starts way earlier than that. Amstrad. Anyway, you're asking me, do I play modern day games? Yeah, I enjoy. One of my favourite games is a Warhammer 40,000 Games Workshop game called Sanctus Reach. I've probably played more of that in my life than any other game. If you don't know about Games Workshop, it's like a tabletop battle game thing where you buy models and paint them and glue them together, and then you play games. But yeah, that's one of my favourites. What's one of my favourite songs to drum to? I don't really have a favourite song to drum to. I have favourite songs and favourite drum parts. I used to really, when I first started, I would spend hours in my bedroom playing along to various albums. Foo Fighters and Chili Peppers were some of my first absolute loves. Well, I'd play every single song on the album as best as I could and try to copy the drum parts, every single drum fill. I tried to play it exactly as the recording was from start to finish, and that gives me huge amounts of pleasure. That little bit of joy where you get through an entire song and you've nailed it. That was really good. Played doubles. Well, actually, that was later in my playing, which is why I don't really sort of force the rudiments too much or sort of emphasise them too much. Is that they come naturally. When you first start playing, it's all singles, maybe some flams, maybe some drags. But the double thing is one of those more advanced skills that you have to be ready to sort of commit yourself to, in the sense that it requires a lot of practice and it doesn't make sense for a long time. Like you're playing, you're drumming and you're going, well, why don't I just play this as singles? Why make it a double thing? It's more complicated. You have to learn the technique, etc. But as I went to when I went to study at the Academy of Music in Guildford, and I did my high diploma and degree, believe it or not, in drumming, that's where I learned how to play the doubles. And as soon as it started to happen, I realised why drummers learn to play doubles, because it opens up a whole new level of ability. You're thinking in singles, but you're dropping in the doubles without even thinking about it. It allows you to play all kinds of cool things very easily, or more easily than having to think about the actual notes you're playing. If you're playing singles, you have to think about them. So doubles take a long time. Sorry, I missed that question. That's the problem with this format for me. Without the, in fact, let me just open the YouTube channel so I can see the questions. I'll mute it so you don't hear an echo. Co. Let me just pause that. Electric drum kit still too loud to be able to play in semi-detached house. No, I don't think it is. It's not too loud to play an electric drum kit in a semi-detached house. You have what I would recommend is you try to find the room as far away from the other side of the house as possible, and use a rug of some sort, like a nice fluffy rug to put underneath the drum kit, so you can sort of stop the bass pedals from vibrating the floor and passing it through the walls. But a semi-detached house, no problem at all. A flat is still going to be a problem, unfortunately. Any tips for limb independence? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do in this? How do I get better at drumming? That's such a broad question, limb independence. It's a huge thing, isn't it? I don't think about limb independence as a thing. It's about learning patterns and exercises and rudiments and grooves and fill ideas, and then over all of those areas they sort of all combine, and it's some of them you might find you're doing some limb independence. But if you mean about the hi-hat foot, then because that's what usually most people mean by how do I get limb independence, they mean how can I keep the hi-hat foot keeping time. That's what I generally think people mean by that, and that's a whole different level. And even if you watch the greats when they're soloing and they're keeping their hi-hat foot in time, there'd be certain parts, not everyone because some of them are amazing, but certain drummers, they break off from the hi-hat foot just so they can then concentrate on what they're doing with the hands and the bass drum foot. So even they aren't really fully four-limb independent. So I really wouldn't worry about independence. If you do the right exercises, you get the right lessons, then it all combines eventually, and it's not a thing really. Four-limb independence. It's just I'd focus on the music and what you're trying to play rather than try to be clever. Samba, I'm not an expert. Latin music, again, when I was studying at ACM in Guildford, I did a lot of Latin study, jazz study. I tried to learn some independence when it came to the hi-hat foot, trying to play the clave, da 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 da, and then the other version, da 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 da, and trying to play over that. When I was studying in the early, in the noughties, literally the noughties, 2000, the big thing in drumming was the ability to play a clave with your right foot. Sorry, your left foot. I'm right-footed, and that was the big thing, like doing a solo over a clave. So pure. I mean, literally the antithesis, you know what I mean, of four-limb independence, the ability for one foot to play something completely independently over the rest of the body. And there were some amazing Latin drummers at the time that are still going today that were just masters, and so that was my thing at the time. But samba, it's just I can't really answer that in a video like this. So any other questions? How long will we be going for? 12 minutes. I realise that most people switch off after about 5 minutes. So if you've stayed this long, thank you. You don't have to have questions. You can just say something. John Densmore. He's the dude from The Doors. Yeah, he is pretty... he's a jazz drummer. He's from that era. Everything he plays is swingy. And I wouldn't say he was particularly technical. I would say that the recording back then was a little bit sloppy, and so the drums were sort of lower in the mix. And also, I don't want people to get the wrong impression when I say stuff like this, but I think his drumming was a little bit sloppy, in the sense that it wasn't really planned. It was just sort of improvised on the spot, and he'd play a lot of stuff that was sort of off the cuff. And I'm sure if you listen back to it today and you asked him, would you change that fill or this groove, he might say, yeah, that was a bit... So John Densmore is tricky because it's all off the cuff. It's all sort of improvised, and as a consequence, it sort of sounds a bit crazy and sloppy. Sloppy in a good way. Don't get me wrong. True that. If you read his book, you learnt free jazz. Yeah. Just want to say thanks for your content. I decided to start learning drums during lockdown. Great stuff. Hope you keep it up after lockdown. It's an instrument that is totally open to anybody. You don't have to learn complicated chords or or music theory, really. The drums are very open to anybody. It's hitting things with sticks. There's more to it than that, and you can go to the absolute peak of skill, but at the bottom level, it's open to anybody. So yeah, hope you're enjoying it. Did I like Tool's new album? Of course. Yeah, massive fan of Tool. It's hard to get into. You have to listen to their albums a few times to sort of pick out the melodies. I'm a melody guy. I love a good. I'm one of my guilty pleasures is I'm a big pop fan. I love cheesy songs. Not all of them. Not all of them, believe me. But there's certain pop songs that people will go, really? You like that song? It's like, yeah, it's a great song. Great song is a great song, in my opinion. Okay, any other questions or comments? Again, doesn't have to be a question, it can be a comment or just a point of view. Yeah, rhythms. Like I say, drums are open, totally open to any level. When you first start, it's like it's instinctual. You know, I mean, kids will tap their feet and you know it's totally open to any level of musician. And drummers are musicians, by the way. And you can start at any level and take it to any level. You can be amateur for the rest of your playing career if you want to be that sort of fancy about it. But really, it's hitting things with sticks, and so you know you can be as good as or as bad as you like, and still have fun. It doesn't matter. It's a great instrument for anybody to start. Best cymbal for 6-month player. My goodness, Rockham. If you've just been playing for 6 months, you should not be worrying about what cymbals you play. You really shouldn't. It's not going to. Best cymbal pack under $500. You can Google that stuff. Honestly, Rockham, you shouldn't be worrying about stuff like that. Even after a few years, I don't even care really about. I'm a Zildjian guy because I like to burn money, but they're amazing cymbals. But honestly, 6 months of playing, you really shouldn't be worrying about what cymbals you're playing. If they sound good to you, that's all that matters. You know, don't go for what everyone else is saying, especially because they're usually very expensive. J Case, lucky I had a trumpet player, but always wanted to play drums. Yes, a lot of drummers actually started as trumpet players. I've heard that a few times with stuff online. Is that a lot of drummers started off as trumpet players and ended up being music producers as well. A lot of great drummers end up becoming music producers because they're used to sort of sitting back and listening and hearing everyone else and then working out what they're going to do. And being a drummer is sort of it's a great position in the band where you can sort of sit back a little bit and hear everyone else and respond to it. And then obviously as a drummer you can lead people, but in a producing seat you're able to because you've been doing it all your playing life, sort of hear other people and go, I like that, no, yes, no. So yeah. Thanks for all the Arctic Monkeys tutorials. Favourite band. I started playing about a year ago and your videos have helped tons. Thank you, Matthew Gomez. I'm happy to help you. Arctic Monkeys are awesome. Yeah, thank you for that. Any reasons you don't do any drum covers like most of the drummers on YouTube? Very good question. Yes, there are many reasons. Well, there's a good few major reasons. The first one is that it's bloody difficult to do a drum cover in one take. And I haven't got the studio capability to be able to do multiple takes like some some YouTube drummers do. You can sort of tell when they cut from one, it's sort of not done in one take. And to perform a song perfectly from start to finish in a way that I would be satisfied in uploading and saying, hey, here is my version of this song. I haven't got those kahunas to do that. I haven't got the confidence in myself to be able to play a song perfectly from start to finish unless I've spent weeks practicing it, in which case I'm taking away from my other job, my main job, my only job, which is to record drum lessons. So it takes a lot of preparation, many takes usually, even if it's in one take, to get a song from start to finish. The other reason is that there's so many other people doing it, and that I'm focusing on teaching the songs, which not a lot of people do. So that's my USP. If you want to listen to a song performed properly, then listen to the original recording. I don't think many people will get much from seeing me perform a song, a drum cover. I don't think that's beneficial to anyone really, other than just being a bit of a vanity project. And I think that's what a lot of people do it for, is just vanity, which is great. I totally understand that. I do enjoy showing off as well. Unfortunately, music had to take a bit of a backseat as work got in the way, but still have a big passion for it. Nice one, Jake. Keep it up, mate. Favourite tune from your catalogue so far? Great variations, still play it every day. Thank you, Mark. Mark is one of my biggest YouTube commenters. I always appreciate Mark commenting, and I'd encourage the rest of my followers to do the same. It means a lot to me, even just a hello, something. It means a lot to see that people are watching the videos, even if it's one of my preview videos, which I understand this is not what you joined YouTube for. I half promote my business on YouTube, and I half try to give out a little bit as well, obviously to promote my business at the same time. No, I'm not trying to fool you. But thank you, Mark, for being a contributor to the channel. I appreciate your regular comments, and yeah. Excuse me. So I'll probably make this about 30 minutes and then call it, because no one wants to listen to more than that. And any comments or suggestions or points of view, anything you like, really. I'm in the mood to answer honestly, so if you want to ask something personal, not too personal, then I'm very happy to answer it. I realise I've got a lot of customers here as well that are members, subscribers on my website, and so anything I can do for you guys, very happy to. Main influences. I love questions like that because it gives me a chance to sort of give a little bit of backstory to me. Very briefly, started off playing along to my dad's records. Then my first drum love was Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers, Taylor Hawkins, Dave Grohl. I was a big fan of Radiohead, basically all the bands that were big when I was 16. And then I sort of matured a little bit and sort of got into a little bit of progressive rock and jazz. I tried to get into jazz, I really tried. There's some great jazz stuff out there, but a lot of it's hard work, but you can totally appreciate the musicians. So drummer-wise, it varied a lot, but nowadays I tend to totally respect the session guys, the top session guys. And Vinny Colaiuta, I think I've said it many times before, and I'll say it again and again. Vinny Colaiuta is one of the greatest drummers of all time. He's the modern day Buddy Rich. No one's going to beat Buddy Rich, of course, for his speed and showmanship. And Vinny isn't the best showman. He's a little bit held back and recluse in parts, which is why I kind of love him. I think he's a class guy. But yeah, that session guys, Steve Gadd's, Weckl. He put me on the spot. I wish I could come up with something that's relevant. I'm going to kick myself when I watch this back later on and go, oh, of course I should have mentioned. But yeah, the professionals. I really love the professional drummers, the session guys, the touring musicians, the guys behind the scenes. They're some of my favourites because it's hard to be someone else's drummer and not be the focus of the band or be part of the band and still be amazing and professional. How do I choose the songs to make lessons for? Well, over on my Facebook page, as I keep mentioning here on YouTube, and I apologise that I don't really get you guys involved. The main reason is that Facebook has a system that is very easy for people to comment and like and vote on songs that other people vote on. And so it's the most democratic medium that I found so far. YouTube, if I went into the community tab and asked this, not everybody sees that post. YouTube, once that community post has been a few days old, it's disappeared from the feed. And so no one else gets to see it and no one else gets to vote on it and blah, blah, blah. Facebook, you visit my page, I can pin something to the top of the page, which I have at the moment. So it's relevant for as long as I want it to be relevant. I feel it's important to be relevant because people get to vote on the songs and get an opportunity to do that. So the reason, how do I choose my songs? It's over on Facebook. It used to be my own song choices, but I soon learned that people appreciate it if I listen to their suggestions. I may not like the song or think the drumming is impressive or worth a drum lesson, but that doesn't matter. If there's enough people that enjoy that song and enjoy that drumming, then I'm not going to be snobby. I'm going to teach it for you if that's what you guys want. So Facebook, but I'm waiting for YouTube to give me an option somewhere in order to make it as easy as it is on Facebook. Ger McGulloch, hi Rob, love your channel. I'm 36 at beginner level. Do you teach many beginner drummers at my age or older? If yes, do many graduate to be good drummers? Thanks, Jerry. I used to be a private drum teacher before I did this online thing. I did that for 5-7 years or so. And I taught people of all ages. It was a little bit intimidating. It felt a little bit strange because I was only in my early 20s and I was teaching men, women in their 60s. And I felt like a bit of a fraud. It's like, who am I? I'm only a kid and I'm teaching this world-travelled human being how to drum. But yeah, I certainly taught people in their 30s and older. And it all comes down to how much you practice. If you want to get good at drumming, then you have to practice. And so the ones that would fall by the wayside, that would give up, were the ones that either weren't in it from the start or the ones that wouldn't practice and see improvements. But the ones that did and saw improvements in their own playing got excited by that, and they would ask me, okay, that worked, how would I take this further? So absolutely, it's a cliche, but honestly, you're never too old, I promise you. It gets harder as you get older to learn new things, as I've discovered, as we all discover as we get older. I'm in my 40s now, but age is not an excuse for drums. It really isn't. And you're not aiming to be Buddy Rich, surely, at 36. You're aiming to have fun and play in a band or play along to songs in your bedroom or whatever it is you want to do. You're not planning to be the best drummer in the world. If you are, lower your expectations and you'll be a lot happier. Okay, coming up to the last few minutes. Any other questions or comments? Thanks, Jerry, by the way. Hey man, thank you. Hey, you helped me to learn Stinkfist. Have you done any covers of A Perfect Circle? If not, can you do Judith and the Outsider? Gets asked all the time. I have actually got a Judith drum lesson on my YouTube channel and website. If you just type in Judith space drums, the word, you'll find it. It was taught by my good friend Alan Varnfield, who's an amazing drummer who studied with me at ACM in Guildford. He's now a professional session guy, goes on tour with many bands, and as a part of a deal where we worked on each other's websites. He did a few lessons for me to help promote his business and promote me as well. And so you'll find a Perfect Circle Judith drum lesson on the website, taught by him, and it's brilliant. Yes, I am in my 40s, I know. I'm waiting for my face to catch up. My body feels it, but my face hasn't quite worked it out yet. Well, it's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you very much for bearing with me. I hope this one was a little bit more sensible than last night's, although that was fun as well. This fact it was a bit silly and a bit embarrassing, and didn't really express myself properly. I was just waffling. Last little question before I leave. Also, since we've all been home a lot the past year, my neighbour really hates it when I play. Any tips how to do an effective and cheap sound insulation? No, I'm so sorry. There's no drums are loud instruments, loud things, aren't they? I think I mentioned at the beginning of this video, insulation under the floor, under the drum kit. Get a big fluffy rug. That will help stop a lot of the vibration through the floor, which is where a lot of that noise comes from. But no, unless you want to spend a lot of money, you're not going to have your neighbours not hear you in some way, in some level. I haven't got a soundproof studio, so I can't help you with that. I'm sorry. Almost 100,000 followers. Keep it up. I know, right? That's crazy. 100,000. That is nuts. So yeah, I'm very, very grateful for that. Really enjoyed this stream. Thank you, Jack. All this drum talk has put me in the mood to bang at Alice Cooper's Poison. Lips are covered in poison. Yeah, great song. Enjoy, Mark. Thank you again for your contributions. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions, whether it's the occasional like or a comment or just a view. I see all the stats. I see how many people are watching, commenting, liking, disliking as well. We get a little bit of that, but that's okay. That's the internet for you. Thank you, everybody. Maybe I'm sure I'll do a few more live chats like this in the future, but there's only so many questions I can answer, so I can't come on every night and just do this because you'll get bored, I'll get bored. But yeah, I'm sure I'll do this again sometime soon. Thank you very much, and happy drumming, and I'll speak to you soon. Now, I've got to work out how to turn this off. I believe it's this button. No, that one. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? It says cancel or end. I think I'm going to go for end.